My name is William Henry, and these are the three most important concepts as I receive them this month. The first concept is determining audience needs. In order to advertise or in order to design something for anyone, a client or even the end consumer, that without knowledge, a thorough knowledge of what they actually need based on who they are, then we're just designing something pretty. Determining their needs is a concept that relates to the research of your consumer base, but also the client. And it's an attempt to better attain an understanding of what motivates them, what things they routinely do, their habits, and then find connections between those things. Connect more truly to that individual or to that client. Pepperidge Farms was a case study turned up in our research, and actually for myself it turned up twice. Many times you get to a place in your business basically looking at the numbers and seeing what might work based on data. What Pepperidge Farm found is that if they got out there and just paid attention, that they would maybe find something about who their customer was. They saw one of their customers shopping and enjoying a little piece of the wafer, not putting much importance into. The first case study that came about was this one. But as I was researching, I came across another one in which in 2007, during the social media rush, when things started really pulling towards social media, so they made a campaign that would create an opportunity for their consumer. All of these things created an emotional connection that they wouldn't have gotten before without the research. The second concept, interestingly enough, is in that same regard. And knowing your core is basically having answers that define the very essence of your brand. The single point of differentiation between your brand and of your peers. They all build upon each other and they work in unison, and it's collaboration. Even Sean Adams in his lessons on LinkedIn, when talking about strategy, he says even when you've done all the research and even when you have some ideas and you have things set, it's still a back and forth. What connected me to the book to begin with is the importance of people-to-people relations. But he talks about how that Hollywood is not a large special organization because they make great movies. No, they're great because they learned early to make connections and to network and outsource. And he shares with us the three different models of this. Those three models are outsourcing the brand to a one-stop shop, outsourcing it to an agency, and stewarding it internally. The way that he ties all these together is they are all needing to be connected to something. Our industry is about that connection. That's what we are about, is how to connect the client to the consumer or the designer to the client. These three concepts working together as a whole create synergistic effect that not only allows an effective campaign, but that allows a stronger and more thorough connection to everyone involved, the consumer, and ultimately a successful campaign. If we don't differentiate by that connection, then we're not going to be able to be seen by anyone. The book, The Laws of Human Nature, as well highlighted the aspects of our nature which makes us want to blend in and makes us want to just be a part of the crowd. It's how we survived early in our history. But if we can apply these concepts into every part of our life, I think that can learn to differentiate based on what we have learned from another person. If we don't know who we are, how can we learn who someone else is? So if we can learn by researching and by digging and by actually making a human connection or to our client or even within ourselves, then if we can do that initial work, if we can do the hard work and the work that is the most important, to be able to know exactly the essence of what your brand is. And if we can do that, well then we can actually begin to understand what we're observing when we watch consumers and their behavior, their habits, and the things that they do. If we don't understand why they do those things as well, then we're not going to get anywhere with the research. It's just going to be a bunch of information. Data alone is not sufficient. The Foundation of brand is trust, Neumeier says. Trust can't be gained without understanding. It's not what you say your brand is, it's what they say it is. The same goes with understanding them as well. You want to see them as a whole and see the behavior that they present to you. We need to be consistent. And in order to be consistent, we need to know who we are. We need to know who we are in order to know what our consumer needs, what the audience, whoever that be. Once you understand what your audience needs, now you need to stand out to them. Neumeier states that we've almost are moving backwards in our evolution as we move forwards at the same time. It's like a mirror. Those weren't his words exactly, I'm paraphrasing. The smaller the world gets with globalism, we are creating smaller tribes where we can bring something common with each other. We need to look at it and say, why does this brand matter? In order to know the answer to that, you need to be able to know what your essence is. In order for them to realize that, you need to know what they need.